G'day guys. The last video I did showed how to make a floating protective input stage for the Minelab detectors, well, the GPX or GP series, and done a bit more of an experiment. And I've also extended the legs on these things so you can actually see that on either channel there is only two wires connected. I've got, as you can see down there, one leg is connected to one input from the coil, the other one is connected to the secondary channel, and each one is connected to the input of the op amps. If you can see that, and they're connected to the non-inverting connections to the front end op amps there, which happen to be pin 3 on both of them. Now, I had a fellow call me and tell me that I was tricking people. That there's no way known a circuit like this could work on a Minelab detector, which I thought was rather amusing. So just to prove a point, I've extended the legs, as you can see, and if I lift this up, I'll have to point out a few more things I've done. There's no input MOSFETs. There's only a couple of I think what are they, BAV99s or something there, just protection diodes. Don't need those over, I can probably flick those out. And if you noticed also on the inputs here, there's two protection diodes. Well, it's not there anymore. There was one there and there was one there. I've taken those out of circuit because they're not needed. And I've also, hang on a sec, it's very noisy if I do this. I'll explain a few other things. I don't know if you can see on the board there. It's hard to see with the white paint, but there's no P-channel input FETs either. I've removed those. And because it's all very live down there, I was poking with a cotton bud to show where they are. Oops. There. One there, and one there, one there, and one there. They were there, they're not there anymore. Oh, God. Yeah, someone's trying to ring me or call me on FaceTime. I'll have to get back to them. But that's the circuit. I'm only showing the front part of the boards. There's other components on the back of the boards, but I'll just keep this a little bit secretive for the time being. But that's how it works. They are working quite well, as you can, if I touch them, And these will also protect the front end from any sort of glitches, spikes, or anything coming down the line. They're not driven. They're self-driven, so you can't have any problems with they're meant to be on in something comes through and blows them up. It's not going to happen. What I'm relying on also, and I've always wondered why people don't do this, where it's basic common sense to me, is that they love sticking protection diodes all around things, especially on inputs of op amps. But excuse me, but the op amps have protection diodes inbuilt, so why not use them? They're good to about 100 milliamps, so why stick 100 milliamp diodes around it? There's no need. You're just adding capacitance to the circuit and components that don't do anything anyway. So yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff on these detectors you can strip out, especially utilising this type of design. it works quite well. The other thing too, when I've taken out my own protection diode, see, I didn't even take my own advice, and I did add those. Well, there they are. That's the remains of them there. You know, I did add some. God, it's blurry as 4148 diodes on the input to ground. Doesn't need it, and actually, how would I say this? It affects operation to a degree. You know, we got to turn everything on and off very fast, and if we have any delay or trying to overcome extra capacitance on the input, it slows the signal down and you miss a lot of early information. So get rid of the capacitance. Biggest enemy of detectors on the receive line is capacitance. You don't have to worry about the transmit line because it's driving it so hard anyway. And also a bit of cable capacitance probably helps with EMI. It probably rounds off the square waves. I mean, this inductor here is meant to do that, but yeah, it's probably just a EMC compliance component. Doesn't need it. You can actually take it off and short it out if you, but you may then be, you know, putting out more harmonics and so forth, being non-rounded square waves, but it's not going to make any difference to the transmit. You might as well leave it there. But receive is a different thing altogether. It's a totally different beast. But yeah, anyway, if I don't know if you're on the other one, you can remember the settings. This is just a GP Extreme, same GP Extreme, nothing done to it except that bizzo. And you can have a look. It's a bit more sensitive now after I got rid of the. I was up at. Get it up around there. That's, you know, nearly on the coil. About 5 mil off or something. 10, 15, 20, I don't know. But there you go. The floating front end. Tell you what I can do if anyone's interested. I can quickly disconnect this one. I'll keep everything going. Do it one-handed. I'll try and do it one-handed. Okay. And I'll pick this up. Pick it up by its wires. Shouldn't do that, but I've got no choice at the moment. And okay. I'll just give you an idea. This one here, I'm picking it up like it's a fish or something. Anyway, we'll drop this back down. This detector here was one I just repaired. Had a the 4093 there on the high voltage regulation stage. Decided to blow up and put a new one on it. Oops. Hang on a sec. Well, I just I don't want to do that. Okay. It's very hard doing this one. This detector's upside down to the other one, but anyway. Okay, coils in. Connect some power, spin that around there. There you go. I'm doing this one-handed, so oops, it's already on. Okay, so there's this one on. It's working. Got a bird's nest of wiring. It's on cancel, fixed, normal. I'll put it on sensitive. I'll put this on the sensitive. Intercepts the signals a little bit quicker, I think, somewhere in the filters. But anyway, something there. But okay, this is a normal Minelab with a normal front end. Runs out of puff about there. The other one I had in normal. I didn't actually have the other one in sensitive. But anyway, hang on, make it fair. I'll put this one back in just into normal, because otherwise it's totally unfair against the two detectors. Okay, normal mode on this one, you basically, I'm scrubbing the coil. And the signal's heaps weaker. And I can't get up to where I was getting the signal on the other one, which was here. Nothing there. Nothing exists. So that is a standard detector. Now the other interesting thing, I'll turn it off, making a lot of racket. The other interesting thing I found, and I found this to be very interesting, is here I just repaired a GPX 4000, and I put it in normal, its own normal timings, right? And it's just as deaf as the GP Extreme, standard one I'm talking about. They're both exactly the same. There's no difference in detection capabilities, depth or otherwise. So just thought people would love to know that. And, you know, that's just the way it is. They're much of a say. Oh, even I'll give you an idea of something else. You know, I'll just put the phone like this so I can change. I have to change batteries now because I'm going to hook up a standard GPX 4500. So just undo that, take the coil off this. Okay, pick up the phone. We'll transport this one over here, and I'll just look on this one. And yeah, it was in normal, it was not in sensitive. So that was a fair test. The second part of that last detector was a fair test. Now, where am I? Down here, this is just a standard GPX 4500. Let's just stand the phone there for a sec while I hook the connector in for the coil. And I'll hook up the power. Need 3 hands to do this. Now, this detector's stock standard, nothing special about it whatsoever. We'll put it in cancel, leave it in fixed, put it in normal. We don't leave it in enhance because that's not fair. I was putting the tracking, didn't I? Try that. Normal and deep, you leave it in deep. General, don't make any difference. Okay, I'll factory default the detector as well. Hold the switch down and turn that down. There you go. It's in factory default settings. Sorry, not that loud. I'll turn up the volume a bit because it's fairly quiet. Okay. How well you reckon this will detect? Bit better than the other two. But starts running out of puff. About here. So it's about 1.5 centimetres. It's lacking in depth. See, we're getting the other target there. And that was on that modified input stage detector. So it proves, well, I have tested it with 2 identical GP Extremes. It does outperform. So yeah, it just shows you that these the 4000 and even the 4500 in standard fare, not that sensitive. Unless we put it into enhance mode. I'll stick this in enhance. And that's basically giving it faster receive turn on times. completely different transmit waveform as well. But for small targets, it's working better, but still not hitting the same point as what that other front end design gets to. Well, front end design, I'll just call it the input switching design, I suppose. I don't know what you want to call it. It's self-switched, input protection, you know, signal transfer, blocking. The thing does a lot of things. So there you go, that's that. So the fellow who rang up and told me it didn't work and it couldn't work and never in a million years and all this stuff, well, guess what? It works. So, kill that. I suppose seeing is believing. I suppose if you really want to see it work, you can always come around and, have a look for yourself, But, yeah. But that's just basic standard detectors. No other modifications are done on these detectors that I was playing around with. There's no variable frequency, or variable pulse width, I'll call it. And, or how about transmit receive timings? Does a lot. It's all interconnected. So if you adjust the transmit, also adjust the receive on time, adjust the delay time for the receiver to come on. So you can stretch it out or bring it in. When you bring it in, makes it very, very sensitive to very small gold, because you're bringing in the time when the receiver turns on. It's getting closer and closer to the, just after the flyback pulse comes on earlier, you're going to get more signal from small gold. It won't decay out as quick. The detector can catch it. You can get very small gold. Or the other thing you can do if you've got really bad ground is stretch the pulses, make them stretch out, and give the receiver, give it more off time before it turns on, and that'll allow a lot of the ground mineral, anything sitting around, like slow decay, clays and things, anything conductive, it'll drop out. And by doing that, you use a dirty great whopping big coil, and you're also putting more energy into each pulse on the detector, and it will, in most cases, put or induce, I'll use a proper terminology, induce more energy into a big target. You need a lot of energy for a big target if you want to energize it to the maximum before it can't take any more energy. That's why if you use, say, enhanced mode, very small pulses, and you go over a hand-to-face size nugget and it's down a bit, it's probably not going to energize it and get a return signal from that, and you'll just walk over it. Depends on the depth, of course, but it's we're talking a big piece of gold. But you put your detector in normal mode and you give it those nice series of long pulses, and you'll get more energy into the target, and you can hear, bigger gold more easily. It's much better in normal mode, but normal mode is a real problem for most people because it lights up every hot rock and every clay type conductive blob under the ground, for a better word. Blob, yeah. They call them clay domes. I don't know if there have to be domes, but it's just conductive clays. Also charcoals, any burnt tree roots under the ground from bushfires causes long time constant signals too, and the detector thinks it's a target. So it's you can put a lot of energy into those sort of things with normal timing, and they tend to sound off quite severely. So if you shorten up your pulses and don't give them as much energy, they tend to be less detectable. but at the expense of bigger, deeper gold. So, sometimes it's better to dig every target than just just say, oh, that might be ground noise. There's a story of a fellow who lives in Denali many, many years ago. I think, God, we're probably going back 15 years ago, that he was working in an area, I think it was called German Hill, around German Hill, over towards Lanakuri, somewhere over that way. And he had a target in the ground, and I think this fellow goes prospecting every day. And he oohed and ahed, and he goes, nah, that's ground noise, and ignored it. And the story goes that sometime later, now I'm trying to remember this, it's a long time ago, it was either months or a year or something of that nature, a fairly long time after, he woke up in the middle of the night and he had a dream or something about that ground noise he heard. And he went back there and dug it. It was a nice chunky sized piece of gold. Can't remember the size of it. Let me think. If I really strained my brain, it could have been something like 6 to 8 ounces or something like that. It wasn't small, as far as I remember. I might be wrong, but yeah, it's one of those stories that you get told, and I've been told hundreds and hundreds of stories. So a lot of cases, all these things fade away and become distant memories. Yeah, anyway, waffling on a bit here, but why not? So there you go, that's that. Sitting there. That interesting switched front end. Very low loss too. What people tend to think with these detectors as well, this is another interesting thing. If you actually directly, instead of having a direct connection in these things, if you say, oh, I'm going to be smart and I'm going to capacitively couple it, it won't work in a million years, right? It won't work. But there is a am I giving away too much here? Probably, but if you want to experiment with this stuff, why not? But if you have a floating system, right, and it has intercapacitance from component to component and everything's connected together, and normally that would be a drawback if it was reference to a ground-based switching circuit or something. But because it's floating, it doesn't make any damn difference whatsoever, because the stray capacitance, which is like on anything between the two wires, right, carries the signal, right? It just does. I've done experiments with this, and these fast, switch waveforms and so forth on the receive side, it just basically rides on the capacitance as well, and there's next to no losses. It's for signal wise, it's completely low loss. And the other thing too, I've just had my signal generator there. I don't know if you can see it over there. I was designing these boards, and I had that. And I stepped it up. I got a little circuit around where I can connect it up, and I can get about 500 volts out of it. And I was modulating or sweeping with square waves the board, and I was seeing if I could blow it up, and I was running 250 volts square waves through it. Didn't care less. It just blocked them. So it's pretty forgiving. It's a good thing you could use to protect anything you want to play with. And if you accidentally hit high voltage, it'll turn off and it won't go through. So yeah, just the way things are and how it all works. I've waffled on long enough, and yeah. So anyway, to the skeptics out there who said that system wouldn't work, well, what can I say? It works, proven, and I don't know what much more else I can do about proving that. Unless people are really, really desperate and want to go check it out themselves or something. Don't usually let strangers around, but this guy was fairly adamant that I was pulling everyone's leg. So there you go. Catch us later.